All right, all right. Young people, listen up. Listen up. Comedian Leon the Jokester here, man. We're about to take this to the next level. In America, it's all about the name. Think about it. When you go get gas, what name popped up in your head? Quick Trip. Yeah. When you think about soda, what popped up in your head? Pepsi, Coca-Cola. When you think about cars, what popped up in your head? For me, is Honda. Even though I don't drive because I'm vision impaired, Honda. We got a Honda. I bought my wife a Honda. Too bad I can't drive it. But there's power in a name. Like the brand is the name. The name is in the brand. It's like when you think of something. So with me, I'm a comedian. So when people think of clean comedians, are they going to think about me? When I think of Christian comedians, the first name that pops up is Michael Jr. You know what I'm saying? So that's a good thing for him, because then if I hear that, oh, Michael Jr. has a new book, it's like, yeah, I rock with him because I like that he is positive and he's for Christ and he represents and everything for his faith. That right there is being very authentic. It's all about the name. You have to make sure that whatever your ideas are, and that whatever you work on, because you're going to put it under your name, whatever you want to call that idea, whatever you want to call your brand, that right there is going to mean everything. Because let me tell you something, once you get your name established, then you don't have to fight for a place in the marketplace. You don't have to fight for a spot in the marketplace. You get what I'm saying? So like, even with me, I've established myself within the school system. So now I don't have to fight for a spot in the marketplace, because every time a principal looks up, they're calling me. And that was strategically done because I realized that when I first got started in comedy, I just wanted to do churches. But then I had to learn that even with churches, there's politics. If it's a big mega church, they only book people that are household names. So if I go to a church that's a mega church and they say, oh, well, have you noticed that every time they have a conference, they only invite Craig Rochelle or Stephen Furtick, Joel Osteen, Bishop T.D. Jakes, Kenneth Copeland? And I started paying attention to that. I said, man, yeah, the last 5 years has been those same guys. That's because even in churches, there's politics. Even in churches, there's favoritism, right? It could be 5,000 people in the church and they all give money and they all can preach. But you think the senior pastor is going to let some random person that is giving them tithes and offering come on stage, hand them the mic and let them preach? Of course not, because it's all about status. Pastors won't admit this, but bigger churches is about status. If you don't believe that it's about money and status, you better watch that Hillsong documentary that just came out on cable TV. Look it up, Hillsong documentary, and you'll find out real fast what I'm talking about. But pastors don't want you to watch that because then it makes them look bad, because that's what a lot of the mega churches are doing. I know a mega church that says, oh, we're debt free. So that means the $20 million you guys are making every year isn't going towards the building. If you're debt free, that means that everything's paid off. The only thing you're paying is the electric bill. Come on, man. Come on. We got to stop finessing people, because you don't go to heaven for lying and finessing people. I just want to put that out there. We're more concerned about building a building and an empire for our own family instead of building a shelter, because Jesus said the poor will always be amongst us. There's power in the name. So when you have an idea, when you have a goal in mind, you set goals and you have a standard, right? So right now you have a business and you want that business to flourish. You want people to know the name. So when you go to New York, Florida, California, St. Louis, Detroit, Oklahoma, Texas, when people go to those places and they say something, there's power in the name. You want them to think about you. But in order for you to do that, remember what I said in the previous video? You have to have the roadmap. You have to create the roadmap to your success. So then when people see, oh, wow, there's the website. Okay, that's the roadmap. Okay, we're on the website. Oh, yeah, this is exactly what we've been looking for. Excuse me. This is exactly what we've been looking for. Then they call you. Then you talk, connection. Then after that, shows booked. After that, contract sent. After that, you show up for the event, you do the show, bam, you send a thank you. You see what I'm saying? That's the roadmap. And I've been doing that for the last 6 years, and now I want you to do it. You try it. Don't get distracted by people, because some people will try to get in your life and dictate, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that. I used to let people do that. I'll have all these great ideas, and then I'll talk to the wrong person, and they'll say, oh, shut that down, or remove that flyer, or don't do this, or we're jealous because you got more shows than us, or we fell off and now we want to try to stop you. That's why I don't talk to nobody. I stay. You see, I'm in the kitchen. I'm here alone at home. My wife is a school teacher. She's at work. My son's 11 years old. He's at school getting education. And I'm right here doing my podcast and then getting ready for the next comedy show. I don't even need a phone. I have 2 phones. One's for business, conducting comedy stuff. And then the other one's for my family and friends. But even so, most of my family and friends, they don't call me because they know, oh, Leon's working. Because in order for you, listen. In order for you to get to the next level, you have to make sure you put in that time. If a young person tuning in right now, if you have an idea and you have 100 shows at $1,000, how much money is that? That's $100,000. How is it that you did not go to medical school, but you make the same amount as a doctor now? 100 shows for $1,000 per show, that's $100,000. Now, you put $100,000 in your bank account and go into the bank and try to get a house, and they're going to be like, wow, yeah, you could get whatever house, whatever car. Look at that down payment. You see what I'm saying? You gotta take your stuff to the next level. You have to take it to that next level. Everybody's not the one for you. I tell young comedians all the time, stop trying to do 20, 30 shows in your city, because everyone's not going to rock with what your ideas are. There's 50 states in America. If you just did one show in each state, depending on who your audience is, you would be fine. That's $50,000 if you charge $1,000, and you do that. You do 50 more the following year, you made $100K. What are you talking about? You've already changed the game by making people laugh, and you made 6 figures. So that's why I said you really got to pay attention to what the blueprint is. Look at the blueprint. Look at what your ideas are, and then capitalize on them, and then go out there and change. You got to get the name out there. I can't stress that enough. Everywhere I go, I keep flyers on me. Look at this. I got my flyer, right? Leon the Jokester. I met people in the airport. They were talking to me. I gave them a flyer. I left flyers everywhere, just so people could see the name. Because once people see the name, they're gonna say, "Let me look that person up." There's times where I leave the business card in the bathroom. They don't gotta pick it up unless they're nasty, but just let them see the name. The name is big as day. They're washing their hands. They look down. They say, "Who's Leon the Jokester?" Laying on the bench, smiling. I'm gonna look him up. Next thing you know, they look you up, and it's a done deal, man. Done deal. And so you have to be mindful that people know things by name, right? American Airlines, Southwest Airlines, you know those airlines by name. McDonald's, Burger King, Taco Bell, you know them by name. Walmart, Whole Foods, Target, you know them by name. Pepsi, Coca-Cola, Mountain Dew, you know them by name. My point is, once you know something by name, I heard Lamborghini say this before. They said the question was, why doesn't Lamborghini advertise, like commercials? Why don't they do commercials for TV? And they said because their customers aren't sitting down watching commercials. Now, I was just blown away by that, because it's true. It's like, if you can afford a $250,000 car, you're probably not sitting at home watching TV. You're probably out working and making $1 million moves. So again, you will never see a Rolls Royce commercial. You'll never see a Bugatti commercial. You'll never see a Lamborghini commercial, Ferrari commercial. I don't even think there's a Tesla commercial. I could be wrong, but you don't see that. You know why? Because there's a certain value on it. And so the same thing with me and my comedy. Like, there's a certain value level on it now, that even when people try to give me the runaround, or they, we can only afford $1,000, but you're a multi-million-dollar company, and it's going to be a write-off, a tax write-off. Like, what are you talking about? Yeah, we've just barely been getting through because the pandemic. No, you're lying. I don't do business with liars. So goodbye. I'll talk to you some other time. 30 minutes later, I get an email. Oh, we found 1,000. We actually found 2,500 like you had requested. I'm like, oh, where did the money come from? Oh, we always had it. We were just trying to see if you were serious about your brand. So that's the stuff that I've dealt with in the last 6 years. You got to stand firm because people will get offended because on their end they have money and they know they have money. So when you on your end say, "Oh, I don't want the show," it's kind of like a slap in the face. No pun intended, Will Smith, but it's kind of like a slap in the face because when you tell people you stand up for yourself and you say, "Hey, I don't inconvenience myself for comedy." We made so much money in stand-up comedy that I can retire right now and be cool because I save all my money. I have nothing to buy. I'm not 18 years old. I don't need Jordans. I don't need to be at Forever 21 buying fashion. I'm married 15 years in. I'm at home and I'm working on jokes. That's the reason why I kill every time I get on stage now because all I do for 6, 7, 8 hours is write jokes. Every now and then I'll get on YouTube and do a podcast, but for the most part, this rest of the week, all jokes for 8 hours. Nobody's doing that anymore. We're finding out that comedians have been doing the famous comedians have been doing the same jokes for like last 10 years. Like, look at my boy Mike Epps. I love Mike Epps, one of my favorite comedians, but his material has never changed for like 10 years. Why? Because beforehand there was no social media, so you can get away with getting paid doing the same jokes. Now with social media, everybody's recording your stuff. So you go to the next city and it's like, okay, you're doing that same exact joke. We already heard that on YouTube. So that's why it's showing that these comedians that we call legends aren't really legends because a legend would actually be able to produce new stuff. But they're doing the same old. And that's old, man. People getting paid money to do old stuff. That's not cool. So with me, I make sure that I keep my stuff fresh. Yes, I do have seasoned jokes that I do that I know and guarantees laughter, but there's also new stuff that I just wrote just today. God's my living witness. I wrote a new joke today that I'm gonna put in the lineup. But see, that's the thing though. You have to get to that point in your career where you're like, okay, my branding is everything, my marketing's everything. I gotta get the name out there. So then when people say, "Oh, Leon the Jokester," oh, okay, yeah, I heard of him. My last 3 shows, there's always been someone that had mentioned that they knew me to the person that booked me. I did my one show. They said, "Oh yeah, so-and-so said he knew you." Of course he did, but he won't book me, but he knows me. He won't tell the others, "Hey man, let's get Leon booked over here." You know what I'm saying? Because there's a lot of people that do not want to see you succeed because they know that they're not on the airplanes doing comedy yet, and you are. And so that bothers people. And so, but that's not my fault. You're mad at me because I want to be great. You're mad at me because I'm professional. You're mad at me because I'm taking comedy to the next level. You know what I'm saying? So I just think that it's a reality check for everybody. And so that's why I encourage young people to stand firm in what you believe. You have a gift, go after it, capitalize on it because nobody's going to wait for you. There's people right now working on the same type of ideas that you came up with. Because like the Bible said, there's nothing new under the sun. So if you come up with a new food for people to eat, someone already had that food. You got a pizza shop, someone already has a pizza shop. You do comedy, someone's already doing comedy. You're a doctor, someone's already a doctor. You're a lawyer, someone's already a lawyer. You're a bus driver, someone's a bus driver. You're an Uber driver, someone's an Uber. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing new under the sun. You're a teacher, someone's else a teacher. You know what I'm saying? So the reality check is how bad do you want to take it to the next level with what you do? I'm not thinking about all the comedians on Netflix, on social media. I got to do what I got to do. I heard Bernie Mac say this once. He said, I'm not paying attention to no one else because Bernie Mac got to do what Bernie Mac got to do. Bernie Mac got to do his thing. And that's true. You do your thing. Why compete? Because when I get on stage, there's no one else. Even my haters don't show up to my shows. So it's like, who am I competing against? Myself. So I got to make sure I put the best work forward. And I'm here to tell you, it's getting better and better. I mean, it's getting better and better. We have all the tools that we need. We lay it out and we start writing and we take things to the next level. And I'm very, very humbled at that. and only the best is yet to come. The best is yet to come. So you guys make sure you work on the name, take it to that next level because the people are waiting.